This is the Smart Girl's Guide to Real Estate with Jamie Hearn, your invitation to start building wealth on your terms. From first deals to big empires, this podcast will help smart girls invest smarter.
Hi, I'm Jamie Hearn, and today I'm super excited to share with all of my Smart Girls Guide to Real Estate community some details on something called private money lending. A lot of you may have heard of the idea of private lending, but have a lot of questions and aren't really sure how it works. So I'm going to go over high level how private money lending works and what you can expect as a private money lender. There are many people looking for financing for real estate projects. And I personally really like lending on real estate projects because my investment is secured by an asset. There is definitely an underwriting process that you want to go through to make sure that the security that the asset is providing is adequate to pay you back in the event that things go sideways. And they do go sideways. I've done a number of private money loans as both a borrower and a lender. And things happen. Sometimes contractors don't get jobs done. When you start a job, it turns out to be more than you ever expected. Sometimes the market shifts or appraisals are wrong, or it turns so there's fewer buyers available. There are just so many variables, it's hard to guess. So I'm going to walk you through the basic process of private money lending. And I'm also going to share with you some wins and some challenges that I have experienced. So private money lending can look like lending a friend $10,000. Make sure you have something at least written down. You should never do a private money loan on a handshake, even if it's with your grandmother, as one of my mentors has often said, don't even trust your grandma. But you really want to make sure that there's paper in place. You and the friend may have a great rapport and there's no issue. What if that friend gets sick? What if you're dealing with someone else instead of that friend regarding this loan? It's really important to have all of the details written down. I have borrowed money from friends to do deals, and I always have a written note. They get a copy, I keep a copy. Everybody understands what the terms are. That note needs to outline the terms, the interest rate, the payment frequency, the expiration date, what happens if you default. All of those things need to be included in the note. Ideally, that note should be secured by a mortgage or a deed of trust in certain states that gets recorded against the subject property. So if you're lending someone money to acquire a property, it should get recorded at closing. If you're lending someone money against a property they already own, you should be going through a title company and you should be getting a lender's title policy. And that mortgage or deed of trust should get recorded when the loan is disbursed. All of that needs to happen around the same time. I have heard people say, oh, just don't record the mortgage. I think that's horrendous advice because you're leaving your lender in a really vulnerable position. And my relationships with my lenders propel my business forward. So why would I not want to make sure they were protected? I had one deal where my project got delayed. So my private money loan was for 6 months and the expiration or maturity date was coming. The project was nowhere near complete. So I went to my own bank account to pay them back. because that's what you do when you're building a relationship. You act in integrity. That is the only way people will ever do business with you more than once. If you screw someone, it's coming back. Like, that's just how it works. So I'm always very intentional about making sure that my private money lenders have full insulation against as much risk as I can possibly provide. And I also make sure that I have a plan B. So if my deal isn't done, I have a way to pay them back. That's just my soapbox on private money lending. But from a high level perspective, private money lending offers a lender the opportunity to participate in real estate deals and receive a really good return without actually buying, selling, renovating, managing any of the moving parts of real estate. So if you're interested in participating as a private money lender, you don't have to have a lot of money in your pocket. You can use qualified money from a 401k that you had a job 3 years ago. So there's $27,000 in there. That $27,000 in the market is at risk. Market returns have been pretty good, but you don't necessarily have any control over the actual asset that you're invested in the market. So I like to invest my qualified money in real estate. I have a couple of different deals that I've put qualified money in, and I get to participate at least in some respect. When it's qualified money, there are additional rules. You can't be controlling the asset. You can't be managing the asset. But I get to see what's happening behind the scenes. So then I know how a big multifamily is run, a ground up construction is run. It's really educational for me. Meanwhile, I'm getting a really good return on my money. I would say the average private money loan in the real estate world is returning between 10 and 12%. That's a pretty good return and pretty secure. I mean, obviously, there are always deals that go south that don't work out. I've had one or two of those, but I've also had deals that returned really good money. One deal I was in, the borrower was having a hard time refinancing because some of the projects weren't done. So he came to all of the lenders and said, I'm not going to be able to comply with the maturity date, and I'm going to offer you an additional 3% return if you agree to extend another 30 days. So yeah, that was a no-brainer. Those 30 days allowed that borrower to finish up the things that needed to happen in order for him to refinance. And I got paid more in 30 days than a savings account makes in a couple of years, really. So it's a great place to explore if you're interested in putting your money to work for really good returns that are secured by real estate. You don't, however, want to just haphazardly put money into real estate deals. You absolutely need to be educated about the deal, about the borrower, about the area that the property is located, what's the exit strategy. And when someone tells me, well, my exit strategy is to hold the property, that's not an exit strategy. An exit strategy is telling me, how am I going to get my money back out? If you're just sitting on this property holding it, that doesn't allot for whatever infusion of capital is required for me to get my loan back out. An exit strategy would be to refinance after renovating to increase the value of the property so the refinance can cover all of the loans. That's an exit strategy. Or another exit strategy is to sell. If the exit strategy is to sell, you want to make sure you understand the market. You want to know that there's not a long time that properties are sitting on the market in that area. It's important to educate yourself. Also, you want to make sure that your documents are properly prepared. I have reviewed documents for people who said, oh, well, this connector, a connector is a person who introduces other people, usually investors to lenders. This connector drafted my documents. They should be good. I would always advise you to consult an attorney, minimum a title insurance company or a transaction coordinator. But an attorney is the gold standard here because an attorney has an education in the state where the documents are going to be recorded. So they have a working knowledge of what needs to be in those documents and what isn't going to work if there's an issue with those documents. So I would impress upon you, it is always a good idea to retain counsel. It's worth the couple $100 to have a document reviewed if it means protecting your entire investment if something goes sideways. That was a little bit of down and dirty on private money lending. It's a great opportunity for people who want to participate in real estate, but may not want to be owners or operators and have a little nest egg sitting somewhere. If it's in an IRA, an old 401k, or some other type of a Roth, some other type of account that is currently invested somewhere else, you can move it into what's called a self-directed IRA. And from there, you can put it in any investment that you deem appropriate, as long as it fits within the rules. And any of the companies that manage those types of accounts can tell you exactly what the rules are. If you're interested in being a private money lender and want to learn more, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to take a peek at some documents for you and let you know if there are holes or things that should be included in there that aren't from a legal perspective. I can also help you vet a buyer or a borrower to make sure that your loan is likely to be used for the purposes that you're intending to lend for. If you are curious about how being a private money partner works, that's different than being a private money lender. A private money partner suggests that you would have some type of equity in the transaction, whether that's a preferred equity stake and you receive some of the cash flow from the asset, whatever the asset is, or whether you are an actual partner in the property. That becomes far more complicated. There are many, many variables. So I just want to mention the fact that private money partner and private money lender are different. And if you're interested in becoming a private money partner, it becomes even more critical to vet the partners that you're getting on board with, because you're in it. You, as a partner, are putting in money and potentially taking on some liability. So as a lender, you're not taking on the liability of the actions of the partnership outside of diminishing value in the property. As a lender, if you just have a basic note, that is likely not a security. If you are a private money partner and taking on an equity position in the company, it is really important that the project be structured correctly, so then it's not considered a security under federal regulation, because that's a completely different ballgame that has some pretty severe implications if a security is sold without proper registration? Again, this is a super high level overview, and I'm giving you a ton of information, primarily so you've heard it. And if it comes up in the future, you can say, "Oh, I think I heard that girl talk about this. So I should probably do a little research and dig in and see if there is something more I need to know." You can always reach out to me, run a question by me or a scenario. I'm happy to explore and dig in with you. If there's something specific that you want me to dig in and share on one of the podcasts, let me know, because I'm here to educate you. So if you want to know about something and we haven't talked about it and you're certain that everyone would really benefit from it, we'll talk about it. If you suggest a topic, maybe I'll even ask you to join me and we can banter about it. I love banter. Until next time, if you're interested in private money lending, reach out. I'll share some additional resources with you. Have an amazing holiday season whenever you're listening to this. See you next time on the Smart Girl's Guide to Real Estate.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Girl's Guide to Real Estate. If you loved today's episode, be sure to follow, rate, and share it with another smart girl who's ready to build generational wealth.